What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, August 2nd, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the pure one at Tim Gettys.
Let Tim host.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Greg?
I'm good. We have a dynamite show lined up for you.
I'm so excited. I'm excited for a lot of things right now, Greg. Let me tell you something. Right now,
please lay it all on me.
Right now, it is August 2nd.
Just said that. You didn't need to check your phone.
which means we are 13 days away from Sonic Mania.
Oh, that's
and
what
let
you're
me
excited
tell
for?
you, I am damn excited for that because it's been a long time since we've had classic 2D Sonic.
Sure.
And man, Sonic Mania, I just feel like they're really gonna knock it out of the park. Every week, I think they've been releasing another song from the game.
Right.
And they're just nailing it. I've watched the pre-order trailer probably 100 times, and I am just all about it. Love it so much. And every single thing from the new stages to the old stages to the music to the characters you get to play as, I'm just like, man, this is gonna be the best Sonic game of all time.
You're saying that now.
I'm saying it now.
Best
I
Sonic game of all
really
time.
think it's going to be. I think it's not even going to be close.
Do you think that it's going to rate well with critics as well? Do you think it's going to be is it going to be that game where people are like, finally Sonic's good again and all this shit, and that's what they're saying? And blah,
Yeah.
blah.
I mean, I think, I honestly, this is the type of game that it's like, I don't care what IGN has to say about it or GameSpot or whatever.
I've been saying
It's
that
like,
for years. I don't care what you say, Pear.
this is the type of game that I want to hear what people that
fans
give
say?
a shit about.
Sure.
Like, people that have an argument of, is Sonic 2 better than 3? Is Sonic CD's past stages better than its future? Like, those are the people that I want to hear from.
Okay.
You know, and so far, all those people have nothing but good things to say.
Of course, the Kind of Funny Games cast that's up right now for everybody, because we no longer put it top by top. It goes up every Monday, 9 a.m., or you can get it early on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Goes into all the things we're excited about playing this from here on out or whatever. You said the 15th, of course. I open up my list here. I have Sonic Mania on there. I'm more excited for City Skylines. Just because of where I come down. Just a big City fan. I want to see what's happening in there. I'm a lap Sonic fan. I want to love Sonic again. I like Sonic Mania from what I've played. I am excited to do it. But it's a huge month. Huge month.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get through all of it.
Greg. I need it.
Okay. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily each and every weekday here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We record a podcast for you live. Then it goes up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Podcast services around the globe. We get nerdy with the news, get in there deep, talk about it, digest it, find all the video game news stories for you, show them to you, talk about them with you. You be part of the show at kindoffunny.com/KFGD. If you're watching live, we don't look at the chat because we're trying to make a polished podcast, but you can keep us honest by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. While we're live, tell us what we're fucking up. At the end of the show, we check in on that thread and we correct any of the mistakes we made based on what you said. Remember, party mode is up right now for everybody for free at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. It would mean a lot if you went over there, watched it, enjoyed it. You don't have to enjoy it, but just watch it. Subscribe to the channel, all that jazz.
You will enjoy it, though. It's a good one. Cluster Truck.
Cluster Truck. Nick Scarpino said it wouldn't be good. We said, fuck you, Nick, and it was good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Nick's wrong as usual. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. There are 4 items.
A baker's dozen
On the Roper Report today. Number 1, there are 3 new Persona games, Tim.
3 new Persona games.
News from Japan has broken that we are getting Persona 3 Dancing Moon Knight on PlayStation 4 and the motherfucking Vita in Japan in the spring of 2018. Persona 5 Dancing Star Night on the PlayStation 4 and the motherfucking Vita, Japan spring 2018 as well. And then Persona Q2 for the 3DS, no release window or any real information on that other than the teaser site's up and it says it has the, steal your heart like Persona 5 graphic.
I was reading NeoGAF a couple days ago and I saw someone talking about a website that they saw, or a trademark that went up that said Persona R, and people were thinking about maybe it was a Persona 5 new version.
Sure.
Coming out maybe on a different system.
Yeah.
Maybe if they might be switching things up or something or other. It's interesting, not here. We're getting some Qs.
Yeah.
You know what happens after Q?
R.
There you go.
Wow.
You go.
You think that's
How you
what's
feel
happening?
about this?
Good. I mean, I'm excited on multiple fronts. Number 1, of course, I'm fuck yeah, Vita games. All right, great. Persona 4 Dancing All Night played. I thought I was gonna. I love rhythm games. I love the goofy stuff like that. I love Persona. I thought I would be head over heels in love with it. By the end of it, I was like, I'm ready to be done with this. Like it wasn't inspired in the way I was hoping it would be. Persona Q on 3DS originally, the first one, jumped in there and played it, and I was blown away. I thought, and it's on me for not at the time paying enough attention. When I jumped in, I was like, oh, holy shit, this is like a real Persona game. Like, and I'm choosing which, if I'm running with the Persona 3 cast or Persona 4 cast, two casts that I both love and stuff, and the voice acting going through. Wasn't a fan of first-person dungeon crawling and the way they did it, but enjoyed the game. Didn't get super far. Not an Andrew Goldfarb about it at all. So I'm excited about all three of them. Of course, as the internet now knows, I'm a fake Persona fan. Still haven't finished Persona 5. We're gonna get to that. We have a question about Shameless and all that jazz. But I'm stoked to get more of it. You know what I mean? Like, I do love Persona. You know what I mean? And I need to get back to 5. I know, but Persona 3 I thought was a great one back in the day. Persona 5 I've enjoyed what I've played so far. Persona Q I'm glad they're doing more. I'm pissed, of course, like everyone else I'm sure in the world, that's Persona Q2 on 3DS. Like, motherfucker, put it on the Switch. You know what I mean? Like, and I know. Maybe kind of sort of they will one day when they'll come around. Who knows? Hopefully.
They won't. People are getting too hopeful about 3DS ports on the Switch. I really think so. People thinking that Metroid Samus Returns is coming to the Switch. I highly doubt it. I doubt it, man. Like, I think that there's certain games that are more platform games, Smash Brothers and Mario Maker, and when it's in the title, Mario Maker for 3DS, Smash Bros. For 3DS, for Wii U.
Yeah.
I think those games are going to come over eventually, but there's a bunch of 3DS games that I don't think are going to get the port, like Pokemon Sun and Moon, or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, my hope here would be like, because you're talking about Nintendo core games, Persona Q, not
True.
a Nintendo game.
True.
Nintendo's not publishing that. This is Atlas/Sega, depending on,
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid point, but I still think that if we're going to get a Persona game on the Switch, I think it's either going to be a Switch version of Q, like a new spin-off, but it's kind of a real game, but it's not a numbered core title.
Sure.
Either that for the Switch, or it will be a Persona 5
remastered,
whatever. I don't know not remastered.
I know what you mean. I know.
Definitive edition or Switch edition, whatever.
Well, Chris Leone writes in and says, hey guys, with the announcement of the dancing all-night games for Persona 3 and Persona 5, do you think this could give hope to some type of re-release of Persona 3? I never got to play it since I only hopped on the hype train with Persona 4 Golden. I'd even settle for a PS2 to PS4 version with trophies. Just wanted to hear your thoughts. Loving the new show. Keep up the great work. Chris. Thank you, Chris. I want to say yes. I love Persona 3. I reviewed the PSP version, loved the PS2 version. But I don't know. I feel like the Persona train, like as you see 3 new games, is rolling so far ahead that do they want to go back? If they were going to go back and do it, would they go back and do a Persona 4 Golden kind of thing?
But I mean, here's the thing. You look at this and it's like they obviously are still looking back at 3 because coming out with when there's the dancing games, they did 4. The fact that they're doing 5 and 3, 3 is still in their mind. 3 is still valuable to them and something that they want to invest time into. Will we get a Golden type of Persona? But I don't think so because wasn't Persona 3 also on PSP?
Yeah, but it was like it was another definitive edition, Fez edition. It was one of those that was criminally underplayed because it added in a female. You could be a female protagonist if you wanted. You could do these different things. It was a different game in a way, and so I would love to see them remash that, put that out. Now you point out the fact that they're still doing Persona 3 Dancing All Night. This is where it gets a little murky in terms of like America versus Japan. In Japan, Persona's been a big deal forever, and so. For me, I love the cast of Persona 3. Some people do. I don't think enough people in America or the West know about it, right? In Japan, that's not a problem. The fact that Persona Q had the Persona 3 cast in it, there's an audience that knows them that way. Do they think they need to look back that far? Or is it just the name Persona is so big now that nobody really cares if I don't have an experience with Persona 3 cast, so I'm not going to play the dancing game? No, you might know him from Persona Q. You might know him just from people talking about it.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I would lose my mind if they were like, hey, we're doing a Persona 3 Golden, and we're putting it out on PlayStation 4 and Switch and everything else.
But I mean, isn't the Persona 3 Golden just Persona 3 Fez or whatever you said? Like, what is the difference between?
I'm talking like HD graphics and this thing, like what they did with Persona 4 Golden, where they brought everything up and they re-uploaded everything.
Okay.
It's not just a straight port. If they're going to straight port it, you can get the PS2 classic anytime.
Do you think that that's an option when it comes to the PS2 classics? Aren't they usually first party or
no, not necessarily. I think probably the majority. Well, no, Rockstar does all theirs, right? So I mean, there's that stuff. Yeah,
cool.
So I mean, it's out there, but it's just the thing of like, again, this is another thing we talk about all the time with like, what is success to a company like Atlas? Atlas is not EA. It isn't a juggernaut. If you have a limited, number of teams, how many teams do you want out there doing stuff, and how much are you going to drum up? Whereas I'm sure they've got to be. They hear the demand. They know their audience. They know their audience fucking loves the Switch. I don't know what they're going to do with that and what they're going to do with the Persona series or any series on the Switch, but I'm sure they're looking at that in some way.
I'm sure someone in the You're Wrong section can
Kindoffunny.com
let me know this, but what is the deal with Persona 5? Is there any exclusive deals? Because I know it's on PS3 and PS4, but could it go to other systems?
I don't know. And again, kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. I'm not sure if it's ever been publicized that like this is what the exclusivity rights are and whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure if it is just like Persona 3 that was on PlayStation 2. You know what I mean? I don't know what the real breakdown is, and I don't know if it's ever actually been stated. But you assume it could. I don't think PlayStation gave them any money for like in terms of like we were published. They didn't publish it, right?
Yeah.
So it is a independent publisher, it is an independent developer that put it on there. And so what does that mean? But then it's like, can the Switch run it? Would it look as great? How do you do that? I'd fucking that would be the one for me. That would be.
The Switch has to be able to run it.
You think so, right?
If the PS3
it's a beautiful
can
game.
run it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game, but it's not like that far pushing the the envelope on what like 4K visuals or some shit like that. That would be the one that would be the hardest for me to swallow. Would be the fact that if it came to Switch, then I feel like I would just have to cut and run on the trophies on PS4.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not going to come to Switch for a while.
Oh no, it'd be fucking forever. But again, as I look down my giant list of games I'm super excited to play that I know I'm going to be able to knock out, when am I going to? I still have being like conservative 60 hours in front of me in terms of my Persona 5 play, and it's like, when am I going to sit down and do that, right? Because now I have these, we were just talking about on Kind of Funny morning show, right? I have these few nights ahead of me of like, okay, cool, and then Cooking with Greggy's filming this weekend, so this weekend will be nonstop work, no games. It's like, well, I have 3 nights now to play games. I don't want to, I could put it into Persona, or I could play A Night in the Woods and get Night in the Woods done. I'm like, I want to do that because that's on my list of shame that I want to get out of.
Yeah.
That's coming up later too. Number 2, a very interesting story, Tim. Super Mario Odyssey is rated E10+. This broke via Go Nintendo. As they point out, as far as we can tell, this is the first mainline Mario entry to get an E10+ rating from the ESRB. There are some other titles starring Mario that have gotten the rating before, like some of the Mario and Sonic games. I'm thinking that New Donk City portion might play into the game's rating, since it features lifelike humans you can jump on. IGN chimes in. According to the ESRB's rating guide, an E10+ is likely to contain, quote, more cartoon, fantasy, or mild violence, mild language, and or minimal suggestive themes than your garden variety E.
I think it's Daisy.
You think it's Daisy?
She's suggestive.
She's getting suggestive? Well, no, it's that other one in New Donk City, right? Who's the woman, the mayor?
Oh, Paulina. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Paulina's suggestive. She's wearing...
Pauline.
I
think it's just Pauline.
I'm just fucking around with you. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one? You're the Mr. Nintendo.
It's interesting, but these ratings are so weirdly arbitrary, and it's like more is... What does that word mean?
It contains more cartoon,
right?
Fantasy or mild violence.
The difference between an E and an E10+ is the word more. So I don't know. What does that mean for Mario? I think it's a really good idea that it's because of the New Donk City portion. Like the fact that it is human-like people makes it less cartoony, even though it's cartoon people. Right?
They look pretty real. The New Donk City residents look pretty real walking around.
I don't know. I mean, this isn't going to affect anything at all.
You sure? You don't think this is Nintendo turning its back on its family values? You know what
I don't.
This is the kind of shit that PlayStation was talking about when they're like, we don't want crossplay because we're protecting the kids. Nintendo's no longer protecting the kids.
I feel like any parent that actually cares about the ESRB, of which there are many.
Sure.
It's why it exists. I think that they're not going to look at this and have any pause in being like, well, my kid's not 10.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's Mario. How bad can it be?
It's Mario, yeah.
You don't think much of it?
No, I don't think much of it at all. Do you? That's the thing. Is there is there a hot take on this?
No, I think it's just I agree. It's probably New Donk City stuff. I mean, it was my first thought when I saw the headline, and it's just like, that's fine. It's interesting. It's weird. Nintendo is so careful with their IP and their characters. I'd love to know what their thought is. Did they know that was going to happen? Did they have conversations about it? Was there worry, concern about an E10+? I doubt it, but someone there must have.
I mean, what are the ESRB ratings nowadays? I didn't know that this was one.
E10+, teen, mature, AO.
So this, right? Because that's the thing is, like, I would have thought I went E to teen because the when I saw the headline earlier for this and it's like Mario Odyssey doesn't get an E rating, the first Mario game to ever not get an E rating, I was like, what?
It's mature.
Because if Mario Odyssey got a T, that'd be weird. That would change things.
Sure.
I think not drastically, but it would have an effect. Whereas the E10 Plus, I'm like, did you make that up just for this game?
No. It's been around for a
Because
while.
remember before there was that the K to A, was it the kids to adults?
Yeah, like a long time ago. I nailed it, but I left out early childhood. There's an EC that you never see on any game. Don't bother to go into You're Wrong. I know some games got it before, but yeah.
Yeah. No, so that makes sense. I wonder how many games get this.
E10 Plus?
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a common thing.
I think Wolfenstein got kidding. Number 3. Last week we talked about Dragon Quest X finally coming to the West in 2018, and then mentioned that it was going to come out in Japan that very week. Well, here are the numbers. It debuted last week
Dragon
in
Quest
Japan,
11.
and it kicked the shit. Did I do it again?
You said 10 this time.
God, how can I
Last time you
not?
said
I
6.
see the X in the I, and I just like my brain doesn't compute. I'm gonna start just. You know what? Fuck it. Roman times are dead. There it is. 2 1s. 11.
times are dead.
We're done. Thus be the fate of all Romans. It debuted in Japan last week and it kicked the shit out of everything. Famitsu reports that the RPG sold over 2 million copies in its first 2 days of availability. PlayStation 4 and 3DS versions sold the combined 2 million, but 2 million in 80,000 pretty much, from July 29th to the 30th. Of that, a little more than 950,000 were on PlayStation 4, and then 1.1 million were on 3DS. That's awesome. God, is that crazy that the 3DS version came out in a bit.
That's right. Why is Persona Q2 coming to 3DS? That's why.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's the thing of like, well, first off, shout out to Dragon Quest 11. Like I said, when it comes around, I want to try it and play it. I've heard so much about this franchise and just never have given it a shot. But it's one of those of like, God, 1.1 million for 3DS. I hope that like people see that and like understand that people still want portable systems. And I know in Japan, fucking people love portable shit because they're on the road, they're on the train so much. I hope that like that people see that and understand they need to start putting their games on Switch like this or like Persona Q.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, it's just a matter of time when it comes to games like this. Like when people talk about the third parties, they like, oh, Switch doesn't have third party games. They're talking about EA, they're talking about Activision and those guys, right? Like it's inevitable that Sega and Atlas and Square Japan are going to start putting their games
NIS,
on exactly on the Switch because they've always done that.
But I'm just ready for them to start now.
Vita
And again,
3DS.
I understand. I know that I just talked about this, and to bring it up again, like, what's the success? I understand that they need to wait for an install base to be there, so they're not releasing games or putting money behind games. But it's just like, God, it'd be exciting if they were like, we have a Persona coming to Switch.
Yeah,
Here it is.
It would, man. I think next year is going to be that time, right? Like I imagine around August next year, we're going to be in a place where a lot of these games are going to start being announced, and then it's just going to be an endless stream of
Well, then we'll
JRPGs,
We'll
just
jump the
left
track.
and right and left and right. Exactly.
Yeah. Why Not Pete wrote in about this story to kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, to be part of the show, and says, Dragon Quest XI just released in Japan, and in 2 days it sold already more than 2 million copies. Interestingly enough, 3DS version actually outsold the PS4 version. Additionally, it was announced that Japanese PS4 sales just passed 5 million, which means almost 4 years after the launch of the PS4, there are still more Vitas in Japan. Parentheses, Vita crossed the 5 million threshold in the fall of last year, to say nothing of the 22 million 3DSs and Switch. I'm sorry, of the 22 million 3DSs and the Switch fever sweeping the country. Do you think more developers should be doing releases like Dragon Quest XI, building 2 versions of the same game, one for mobile and one for consoles, regardless of how large the gap in graphical fidelity is? Thank you for your time. Why Not Pete?
Quick question.
Yeah.
How many Vitas are in the world?
In the whole wide world?
Like sold?
I'll have to look that up. I'm not calling.
Because so Vitas crossed the 5 million sold threshold in fall of last year.
Yeah.
Is that to date?
Yeah.
Or 5 million last year? Because that sounds wrong.
No, it's 5 million forever.
Wow.
I think. Let me check. How many?
I mean, I'm not up on the Vita stuff like that, but that's way lower than I thought there was. I know it didn't sell great, but I mean, even the Wii U was at 13.
I'm looking into it.
Okay.
Answer his question while I look into it.
Do you think more developers should be doing releases like? I don't know. It's hard because you see things like the Digimon World Cyber Sleuth or the other Digimon World game that came out after that. And to see the difference between the Vita version and the PS4 version, it's like, oh man, like the game is there, but it's ugly and it's so empty. And to me, I kind of feel like it's better to just focus on one version and make sure that it is working to the best of its ability on the platform it's on. Like playing through the Vita game, I feel like would just feel weird and empty just because graphically it is. And even though the gameplay is the same, I just don't like that experience could be tailored to the Vita and look so much better if there was just a Vita version.
100%.
Whereas instead they're making the PS4 version and they're just like, all right, what can we dumb down as much as possible? And I personally am not down for that experience. I don't think that that's a good thing. However, it does sell a lot of copies easily.
Let me read you a long thing from Wikipedia. Because as with everything, when something doesn't sell well, nobody's really talking about the numbers. Like Sony's not putting out a special thing. So they talk about it. Sony hasn't done it. But here, while not giving specific figures, Sony stated the Vita sales beat projections in North America in 2014, which it was happy and surprised with. Some even falling out of stock. Similar responses have been found in the UK as well. The platform has been considered to have sold well in Japan, where it outsold the PS4 in 2015 and reached 5 million units sold in 2016, according to sales tracker Media Create. It also obtained million-selling software the same year, the Japanese release of Minecraft. By the end of 2015, research firm EDAR estimated sales of the Vita worldwide to be around 10 million. Despite the smaller user base, the platform continues to be viable for game releases in 2017 due to the high attach rate of limited software per household. Limited run games, blah, blah, blah. In mid-2017, Glixel estimated that approximately 15 million units of the system have been sold so far.
Okay, cool.
So 10 to 15 million sold so far is what the estimates are right now.
That sounds right.
More than 5 million in Japan in 2016.
Yep.
But it still continues to sell there, whereas here it doesn't as much because you can't find it anywhere. You have to do all these different things.
Yep.
My thing to why not Pete's question here then, I don't think so. No, I don't like it. I'd much rather it be that, you commit, don't get me wrong, there's successes. Dragon Quest Builders did the same thing, right? Where it came to PlayStation 4 and it came to Vita and ran well, did different things, did fine. I don't like seeing, I thought it was really interesting. I thought this is one where we talk about, not to keep beating the dead horse of Shovel Knight, which I've talked about a lot on this show, right? Of be good to your fans. And I think you're on the show, right? Where the person pointed out that the reason Shovel Knight keeps releasing the DLC the way it does is because it was all promised through Kickstarter backers. Great idea, whatever. Fallen Legion, most recent action RPG that just came out, right? They have a PlayStation 4 version and a Vita version, and the games are different, and they have different bosses, and they have different stories, and it's that's cool, but it's also really confusing, and I don't think there's no way for you. I mean, we say it on the show, and you read it in the PlayStation blog, but the average person who might get interested in that game, are they going to go to that level? They're going to look at it and be like, oh, it's not cross-buy? That's weird, and bounce, I would think.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, I feel like whenever it's a different game, you should call it something different. And I can't think of the examples.
Fallen Legion, I think, just for the record, so I don't get you wrong, it has a different colon.
Yeah.
Fallen Legion colon, whatever. Final Legion colon, whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think back to Smash Brothers, right, as an example of a game that did it well.
Yeah.
Where Smash Bros. For 3DS versus Wii U, where it was optimized for the system, but it still goes with my argument where Ice Climbers couldn't be, supposedly with what Sakurai is saying, Ice Climbers couldn't be in the Wii U version because they couldn't get them to run on the 3DS version. It's well, that's an example of this affecting holding one of the versions back. But I mean, Smash ran great on the 3DS, and it was a great game on that platform. But then that's another weird thing where it's then that version came out first, which they only did because they know more people wanted the Wii U one.
Yeah.
So it's But when it's day and date and it is a very similar game, I think that Dragon Quest Builders is an example of, this could totally work.
Yeah.
But that's not really an example of
Do you think more
the
developers should
graphics being lowered, right?
No, yeah, they look similar. I think it ran better, obviously, on PlayStation 4 due to processing power. It's a loaded question because, I mean, it is that thing we can sit here and I don't like it, maybe we do, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the numbers don't lie. More than 2 million copies got sold of this game. And that, granted, if you put it on one platform, arguably the people from the other platform would come get it. Some of them. But you wouldn't, I don't think you'd hit 2 million necessarily. So it worked for them. They know their audience. And that's the different, and I guess that's the other big thing about it, right? Is speak to your audience. You have to know who's going to buy this game. That is the most
important thing, and I think that Smash Bros. Is an example of that. Those Nintendo fans are going to buy both versions.
Yeah.
They know that.
Yeah.
So release them at different times to make them buy them. Because if they release them on the same day, I do think there'd be significantly less people buying both versions.
Yeah.
Whereas when you put them the month and a half apart that they were.
3DS came first too, right? Yeah. When are we getting a Smash on this fucking Switch?
I don't know. I don't know, Greg. I'm
Can you talk
kind
to
of
anybody
shocked.
about this? Can you ask them for it? Because I'd love it. Yeah, hit him, Mr.
Can you
Nintendo.
do this? Yeah, I would have thought that we'd have it announced already, but I think that might be one of the franchises they're waiting for a bigger install base because they know it's going to sell.
So do you think, have you given up hope at this point that you're going to get a Smash Brothers Definitive Edition?
No, I mean, I feel like we're rapidly losing out on the opportunity for that to be announced and for that to come out.
The longer we wait, I feel like the more likely it's going to be
just
like,
gonna
hey,
be
here's Smash Brother, the new Smash Brothers.
And I still don't necessarily think that's a good idea because I think that is way far out, and just knowing the director of the game and his input on the franchise and how long he had to work on this latest installment, especially with all the DLC, there's just so much there that I feel like there's still some life left in this version. And I don't know how much better you can get.
I know. I just like to be able to play it without having to turn on that goddamn Wii U. Play it on the road. Enjoy myself, you know what I mean? Instead of be tortured. Don't want to be tortured anymore.
I get it, Greg. I get it.
Give up on the GameCube controllers.
Never.
Final story on the Roper Report. And this is a short one. 2 new Marvel vs. Capcom characters have been revealed for the new game. It's Dormammu from Doctor Strange and Gargoyle's Quest's Firebrand the Red Blaze.
Let's go.
All right. Who the fuck's this guy? You actually care about him?
No, but
Okay.
it's a Capcom thing. I like in the Marvel vs. Capcom games when they do just get fucking out there.
Get weird.
And just get weird. And
Yeah.
just like Phoenix Wright being in...
But Phoenix Wright is cool. He's got a fan base.
Yeah,
Does
but like...
fucking Gargoyle's Quest Firebrand the Red Blaze have a fan base?
in a fighting game, that I just enjoy when they like take characters and they're like, you know what, let's make this a thing. Or when they did the Ghosts and Goblins guy and stuff like that, I just enjoy it. I feel like it's fun. So yeah, fuck yeah, Firebrand.
I just feel like it's wasting a slot on something that people would really want.
I don't think that's how that works though.
Okay. You would say this while your fucking Smash characters, your shirtless shulks,
All the
your
Fire Emblem
fucking
characters?
15 Fire Emblem people
That
in
are all
there.
fucking great. Not all of them.
Then they're like,
most of them
hey,
are
you know,
great.
for Mario Kart, let's put all Bowser's fucking kids in there. Let them
Hell
all be
yeah.
around.
The Koopa Kids? Don't be fucking hating on the Koopa Kids.
We didn't need
Greg.
the Koopa
You can
Kids.
get out. Yes, we did.
We didn't need them.
We didn't need them, but it was great that they had them.
I would have rather seen other people in there.
No.
Maybe they should have had a little guy named Dry Bones in there at
Now
launch.
they do.
I know, now they do. Yeah, that's why this is the best
Yeah,
version. This is the definitive version.
That carrot for you.
Tim,
Yes.
if I wanted to know what came to the Mom and Grop shops, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kind of Funny Games daily show host each and every weekday.
Out today, even though it kind of came out yesterday, is Tacoma. Out today, but it came out yesterday. Tacoma.
Got it.
Because Tacoma's official release date was today, but then the Steam version came out yesterday, which is fine. And then Xbox One started publishing last night, though, so whatever. Tacoma's out. The final question for the show at the very end, after we say all the other stuff, similar the book club idea that we had about Last of Us a while back is going to be about Tacoma. So we'll talk about spoilers there. You can save it for when you beat it or come back later. I'm going to talk about it on the Gamescast in a less spoilery fashion. Also, we have new dates. GameSpot reports the Switch version of Monster Hunter 20. Monster Hunter XX. I'm just going to say whatever. I'm going to cover my bases.
It's not 20 though.
Monster Hunter XX.
It's just XX.
1010.
Double cross.
2020. It is releasing in Japan later this month on August 25th. Before then, players will have an opportunity to try out the title with a free demo that is coming to the eShop on August 10th. While the demo is strictly limited to the Japanese digital store, the console itself is region-free, meaning all Switch owners will still be able to download it. To access another region's eShop, all you have to do is create a new Nintendo account and select the appropriate region. Once the account is created, link it to your console and you'll be able to access that region's digital store using your new account. The demo will be entirely Japanese, but it will still give players a chance to sample several quests. Good job, GameSpot. I never thought about that. You know what I mean? I knew how to do it on the PlayStation. Jumping in there for this one.
Now again, me jumping around just saying things, talking out of my ass.
Sure,
but
talk out
I'm
your
pretty
ass.
sure this is correct. And again, you can correct me. I like this show.
Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong.
This Monster Hunter game,
Yeah.
3DS game, now come to Switch.
Mhm.
Completely invalidates
Invalidates your
everything
point.
that I was making earlier,
Sure.
but also validates the point of other
Publishers.
Publishers can do whatever the fuck they want and
Sure.
might do more 3DS stuff.
So we're saying that Atlas needs to be more like Capcom.
Exactly.
Get out there.
So Persona Q2, perhaps it will come.
Hell yeah, boy! Let's check in with you, the readers. You can be part of the show. kindoffunny.com/KFGD. And again, I complimented you all yesterday. I will compliment you again today. Exquisite questions. They are killing it over on this forum. Really good discussion points. I enjoy what's going on. Where do I want to start today, though? I wonder.
Greg. Where do you want to start?
I want to start here.
Let me know.
Yeah, we've talked about it at the beginning, and I referenced the Gamescast, so we'll go there. Eric from Texas writes in and says, how long is your game's backlog, and how do you decide what to play next when you finish a game? Mine is now over 100 games from the last and current gen due to sales and free games, and I'm not quite sure how to pick what to play next. You're full of shit, Eric. And when you have 100 games deep backlog, you got to let some of that shit go. You got to give up on it. My backlog, I put on the list we did for Gamescast, right? That I was talking about today with the stuff I want to play this month. Over here, I have the list of shame. It's Persona 5, it's Nier, it's Wolfenstein, and then I'd forgotten about Night in the Woods, there. It's 4 games that I know I need to play and get my shit together on. That's a good list. That's a real list I could beat. Will I? Who knows? Who knows? Nier I won't beat. I need to play Nier, though.
I mean, I'm the type of gamer that I play what I want to play.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily feel the need to play other things unless it's highly recommended by people that I respect, or if I want to play with my friends something that I'm not necessarily into. Battleground's a perfect example. Would have never picked that up. It was talked about so much in my friends groups that I'm like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Now I fucking love it.
Yeah.
When it comes to backlogs, I feel like I have a lot of games, and then they just slowly leave. Where I'm like, all right, I'm never actually.
Yeah, you gotta let go. Yeah.
So I feel like my backlog's been refreshed recently.
Sure.
Where
What do you got
a
on
lot of the things that were there are gone.
Okay.
But Nier Automata is the one that came out this year that I'm like, I'm pissed that I haven't had time to go back and actually play through. So I would say it's just that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you hit the nail on the head. I got to be in the mood to play stuff, which is what hurt me with that Persona when I was like, I'm just going to play Persona until August starts. And it was just like, I sat down, I'm like, I'm not in the mood to play Persona. I want to play Friday the 13th. I want to play Marvel Heroes and talk to Jen. Like, I can't force things like that. And that's what fucks everything up, where it's like, then I get into this situation where, fuck, this shit's just sitting around.
Yeah. And I mean, just especially looking forward to all the games that we have coming. There's just so many, it's all about prioritization and like kind of ranking how much I want to play things. Uncharted Lost Legacy coming out is going to make everything else obsolete. I'm not going to even want to think about it.
When it gets there, that's a showstopper. Everything that's I was in the process of has to be stopped because I want to play through that, and also because you know what you're getting into. It's a 10-hour experience, right? Okay, cool. I can get that out. There's a finish to that, and it's a reasonable finish. Where I can sit down and do that over a couple nights or one day.
We're getting a new Uncharted game in
I know,
weeks.
right? It doesn't feel like it. Everybody's sleeping on it. I keep telling you, nobody's listening. The fantastic Ian writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, and says, is now a good time to buy a new Vita? See, I'm very excited to play Danganronpa V3 on the Vita in September, but I want to play it fresh. My Vita now is worn and sometimes refuses to charge, but it does have the OLED screen and I love it to death. I've been eyeing the orange Vita for so long, but I don't know whether to bite the bullet. It is costly, and I hate to admit it, but the Vita trickling of games has become a trickling of games. That, and my Switch has officially become my Vita 2. So, I don't know how much more Vita I'll play after Danganronpa V3. Help. It pains me to say it. I would say do not buy a Vita.
Yeah, if there's only one game left and you still have a Vita that's kicking, even if it's kicking,
sure,
on its dying legs.
Yeah.
I'd say just rock with it. However, if you do love your Vita, you should get that orange Vita now because you've been eyeing it, and you're gonna go back to these games at some point in the future, and you're gonna want a Vita that's really nice and really beautiful and orange.
I don't know if you're going to necessarily go back to it though.
I don't know. It's like for me, for as much as I don't like the hinge on the 2DS, like I'm excited that Nintendo sent us one because now I have new DS family system for when I want to go back and play my 3DS games.
I hear you. For me, the Vita isn't about going back. It's about here's this new thing that dropped and I want to play that. Like the ones they're announcing these Persona games today. It's like, okay, cool.
I'm thinking about the future though. I'm thinking about 10 years.
You're talking about you're future proofing. Yeah. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. The big thing too is like you're excited to play Danganronpa V3, which is coming to PlayStation 4. So you don't need to buy a Vita for that. If your Vita, like you said, it doesn't hold a charge. I understand it refuses to charge, and you love your OLED because you're a weirdo. You can't even tell the difference when you look at the OLED or the orange one. And they look great. My pink one looks great. Well, the colors are richer. Whatever. Get over yourself, everybody. You're playing on a plane. Somebody's farting next to you.
Just enjoy your life. Do with anything?
I'm just letting you know.
Movies on the Virgin America.
I do watch them and I enjoy them, and I know, and I watch on a small screen. I think it's great.
Monster.
I think it's having a good time. Zombie Lazarus writes in and says, "Hey Nick and Andy." Just kidding. Love you, Greg and Tim. This is a bit of a crossover question. I recently read Spider-Man Blue as it was the required reading for the Kind of Funny morning show, and hoo boy! The story told is basically the most emotionally impactful Spider-Man story there is to tell, and there is such a great execution. We've talked a lot about the gameplay of Insomniac Spider-Man, but what I want to know is this. What do you guys want out of the story of the game? I'd love to see some good storytelling that I feel like the Arkham games never really tried to do. They were definitely more concerned about the gameplay and just having a cool Batman story. Do you think it's too much to ask for actual character development? Thank you guys, and keep eating that ass, Zombie Lazarus. What do you want? You're the biggest Spider-Man fan I know.
I want to give a shout out to Spidey J in the chat of Kind of Funny Moment Show. I think he's the biggest Spidey fan. But this Zombie Lazarus thing, he's making some good points here. I am going to be honest. I don't expect a great Spider-Man story out of the game.
Now, is that
think
because
what he's talking about the Arkham games being a cool Batman game, I think this is going to be a cool Spider-Man game.
Gotcha.
I think the story, it'll be fine. It could even be great, but it's not going to be one of the best Spider-Man stories ever. I feel like video games that are narrative-based, that have the stories that we'll remember forever, there's that balance of the gameplay needs to match that perfectly. I think with Spider-Man, there's an idea of exactly what that gameplay needs to be.
Yeah.
And I feel that gets in the way of a good story. Spider-Man stories are quick. When he's fighting, the fight happens a specific way. When he's getting around the city, it happens a specific way. Us as players being able to have a more open world and do whatever we want slows the pace down.
Sure.
So I think having that emotional Spider-Man story is going to be a lot harder to get across, which is why I think they're going to do a really good job of, and from every time we've heard them talk about it, they want to have it be very Peter focused.
Yeah.
And so there will be character development, but I don't think it's going to be taking the characters anywhere we haven't seen them go before. Where Spider-Man Blue is things where it's like, I feel like a really rich world of characters that you see different sides to that you might not have seen before. I think this is going to be, this is the Peter you know, and he's going through the same crises he normally does.
Sure, that's a good point. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because I feel like we've not been burned, but the way Activision handled Spider-Man for so long makes us feel like we know what a Spider-Man game is going to be in some respect. And don't remember this, Insomniac Spider-Man obviously looks amazing. I can't wait to play it, all this different stuff. I feel like it could be, though, a Horizon Zero Dawn situation where they do tell a narrative and, you know, it is spaced out and the mission, there is the main story path, but you still have to travel to them and get those quests and do that stuff where, sure, I'm swinging to the next main story quest, but then something happens on the side and I get that and then I go and then eventually maybe we turn that corner. I'm like, fuck, this story is so good. I just want to play through and see it. And when you talk to Brian or Bill or Mike about this game, they talk about, you know, the best Spider-Man stories are ones where it's Spider-Man and Peter. Like every threat is somehow related to Spider-Man and Peter, and that, you know, Mr. Negative's all we've seen. And they've talked about the fact that Mr. Negative, right? Spider-Man doesn't call him Mr. Negative, and he calls him by his name because he knows him because Aunt May works at his soup kitchens. Like Peter already has a relationship with him. And seeing them, and they talk about the way they handle the Marvel game stuff is that they want to have it where it's familiar but different. You feel, you know, you're getting into something, but they're telling their own story with it. So with that idea of them jumping in and being able to take different villains, you know, who knows who's going to be in this game, but they jump in and they take the Vulture, Dr. Octopus, or whoever, Scorpion, Green Goblin, and it's a little bit different, and we think we know what's happening. You know, Norman Osborn's running for mayor, I think, in this one. There's enough interesting things there where I'm like, I hope, and I really do, like, I find it interesting, you know, at the Marvel Games' panel, I think, or maybe it was when we were talking to them at E3 when we had Bill and Mike on, there was a question, whether we asked or somebody else did, about like who's writing the story, and they were like, they had nothing to announce at this time. So they're working, I assume, with comic book writers. Like they know what they want to do and tell. And now granted, that happens all the time with every game, but for a game they're putting so much into, a game they're making an exclusive on PlayStation, a game they don't have a release date for because they want to get it fucking right. And when Brian talks about it, like, I feel like it's more than lip service this time around, that maybe they could come out and actually deliver the best Spider-Man story we've ever played in a game. Oh,
I mean, I think it goes without saying we're going to get that. I don't think it's going to be the best Spider-Man story we ever got.
I got you.
Right?
I got you.
Get in the game, definitely. No, this is going to be good. It is going to be, I think, at least Horizon levels.
Okay.
In terms of the quality of the story. I think
Horizon was really good, remember?
I mean, it was. I mean, that's my problem when we talk about stories in games, and we've talked about this on Gamescast like 2 or 3 months ago. Like, it's really hard to say that these stories are amazing because I feel like there's so many times there's an asterisk or there's like so many things I'd pick
Great
apart.
story for a video game.
And yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I feel like we should hold them to higher standards than that. And I feel like when I talk about Spider-Man stories, when I talk about Homecoming, I don't want to think about it as, oh, it's good for a Spider-Man movie. I want to think of like, how does it compare to Spider-Man comics? Like, what are the pros and cons of it? Like, what didn't I like? And video games, I think, are the same way, especially when we're talking just about the story elements. Them talking about the cool Batman or like Arkham just trying to have a cool story reminds me of the Neversoft Spider-Man game.
Hell yeah.
On
Right
PlayStation 1. And I remember that was the coolest Spider-Man experience I had at that point in my life. Going through and playing, and it's like every loading screen being a custom comic book cover that was the level that you were playing.
Yeah.
That was so cool. And playing all the different villains like just back to back to back and having all the Spider-Man things that you know and love in one game.
Yeah.
And it happens so fast. And then Venom's there, and then Carnage is there, and the final boss is Dr. Octopus, but he's with like the Venom or the symbiote shit. So it's Monster Ock. Like there's nothing cooler about Spider-Man than that game, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't think we're gonna get that with this. But I
it.
wonder how many we should do a Let's Play series, like a full long play.
Yeah.
Play the whole goddamn thing. But yeah, man, I'm very interested, and I do think that it's going to be at worst a great Spider-Man story. But I don't think it's going to be anything super crazy mind blowing.
Okay. I'm interested. We'll find out. Alex de Bushwhacker Bushaber writes in to kindafunny.com/KFGD just like you can and continues the theme of superheroes and says, "Hey, Greg and the Pure One. It seems like every movie studio is trying to make a cinematic universe. Could this concept make it to a game franchise? The closest to this in games that I can think of is the Legacy of Kain series and the Darksiders stories of having interconnected stories in the same universe with different protagonists. But neither have led up to a massive team up like we've seen in Marvel or the DCEU. Would you want to see a game franchise take on this concept? What would be the ideal series for you in your mind? Best regards, Alex de Bushwhacker."
Very interesting, and him bringing up the Legacy of Kain is like, oh, well, that was close to that.
Yeah.
I think the difference between movies and games is the fact that games have different gameplay, right?
Yeah.
So having a team up game after 6 different games with different gameplay could be very difficult because what makes those characters special and how they play and why we care about them. I don't know, unless they're all very similar style games, that idea would work. There's certain genres that it would work in. Fighting games come to mind, and that's why things like that
Dancing
work.
games.
At any point, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter can finally happen, and there can be a game there that makes sense. Street Fighter and Tekken, not everyone's favorite fighting game, but it's easier to wrap your head around that making sense because from a gameplay perspective, it does. Thinking about like Nathan Drake hanging out with Tomb Raider, yeah, that could make sense, but that's because the gameplay is similar, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like you would need a bunch of that, and I think that we'll never really see that in video games because there's just too many. You would need too many games that are samey for that crossover to make sense.
I don't think I never say never. I don't think it's a viable thing that you'll see a lot of in video games. I'm sure somebody will do something to this extent one day. It's more how cumbersome game development is in the way that, okay, we're doing this, right? For you to really do this, it's different studios working on different games. So they're going on this plan, on this strategy to release on this day. They've been pushed. Do you push the other game out? What if that game, a concept just doesn't work and they scrap that game altogether? At what point does Studio 1 finish their game? Studio 2 fucks everything up. Is Studio 1 still working on game 2 in their series, but 3 in the world? And I'm not saying movies are easier to make, but you can turn around a movie quicker, it seems. For the
Not much quicker, but quicker.
You understand? And it's just like, I'm not, we're not business people, we're not on the inside. I feel like it's just too complicated, not to mention that it totally hog ties the developer creative team on what they want to do. You know what I mean? I like the nods to other games. I like that in, Uncharted 3, there's a newspaper referencing The Last of Us. Not that that's in the same universe, obviously, but in The Last of Us, there are Jack and Daxter and Nathan Drake plushes. That's cool. No spoilers at all. Not that it doesn't matter. Steve Gaynor, I asked him on stream once, is Tacoma in the Gone Home universe? Yes, it is. But it's not that's directly tied and there's this giant fucking thing that's happening or whatever that revolves around it. That's fine for me. Easter eggs like that, knowing that I'm in the universe is good. And those are from same developers, which makes it different, right? When you know what's happening, they're in control of everything. Whereas like when they, Marvel Games did announce what they're doing with Marvel Games and Spider-Man and here's the Avengers game and there's rumors of this game and the people are like, is that all happening in the universe? And they're like, no, we don't want to fuck around with this and make it that complicated. We want to say, hey, cool developer, here's our cool universe and 2 cool characters. You go play with them. Do what you want to do, and we'll come back and worry about it later.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would need to be the same developer. Like the Naughty Dog universe could be a thing. I mean, I feel like with what the games that they have now, that wouldn't make sense because of just how it works. And it's once you get to the Avengers part, once you get to the team up part, that I just don't know if video games are the right medium for that in any way that's canon to the series and to the franchises at that point.
Yeah,
because it'll be easy to be like, yeah, and then. They all just team up and they all just go on this adventure because of time travel and because of the different dimensions and shit. But it's like, then it's obviously not a real thing. Then it's just a crossover event.
Well, I mean, and that's one of the things that's so interesting and exciting about Lost Legacy, right? Is the fact that, hey, two side characters that I personally really fucking dug in all the games they were in, they're together and they're going to do this. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. And I can't wait to see their dynamic. And I don't know how well they know each other and are they meeting. It's going to be fun to play. Like, I'm interested in that. Whereas like Uncharted 2 through 4, it was like, oh, I can't wait to catch up with Nate and see what Sully's been doing, and is he with Lena or not? Like, I knew all the questions I was going to ask and what moments I was waiting for. Whereas this is like great, and I can't wait to see what nod to Nathan Drake and the guys and stuff there are, and who actually does show up. Does Sully show up in this? Is there going to be a Cutter moment? Like, let's fucking get in there and find out. It'll be fun. Elza wrote in and said, "Hey, Greg and Tim. Yesterday, you mentioned that if you found a Switch in the wild, you should flip that shit on eBay and make a couple bucks. This is not a nice thing to do and encourages the flipper/reseller mentality that made the NES Classic such a pain in the dick, parentheses, and of course, will apply to the SNES Classic. Don't you think we as gamers should be encouraged? Don't you think we as gamers should not be encouraging this kind of behavior? Counterpoint. I'm a huge goddamn hypocrite. I waited in line at Target at 5 a.m. to get a Majora's Mask limited edition 3DS and promptly sold that shit on eBay for more than double the price. Did I feel bad about it? Yes. Am I a terrible person? Probably. Did I make $200? Get money, get paid. That said, what is the most questionable thing you've done regarding buying and selling video games?" Elza is taking the ball and running with it, which I appreciate. Right into kindoffunny.com/KFGD. What I'm saying about putting them on eBay is a supply and demand issue more than, I'm not saying put them up for $400, $600 as your starting bid. I'm saying the fact of the matter is there are people here in San Francisco who are like, I'd love to buy a Switch if I can find one. And then I have you guys tweeting at me all the time, be like, I'm in fucking, here they all are my thing. Get those, put them out and try to get them out here. Like, let the market decide on how much you actually make off of them. I remember for you're talking about my personal experiences with this. I had pre-ordered a PlayStation 2 at the Funkoland in Bloomingdale, Illinois. And what happened is they got how many they were going to get in, and I was in second wave shipment. So I went and camped out at a Meijer for 9 hours and bought my PlayStation 2 on launch day. Then a few weeks later, they're like, oh, your PlayStation 2's here at the Funkoland. Went and bought it, put it on eBay, and sold it. And I sold it for like $20 more. Like, I didn't make a mint off of this thing, but I got it to a gamer who then wanted it. That's the way it works. And I think it sucks that if somebody in San Francisco is buying it from somebody in Nebraska, there's going to be a markup on it, but that's how this works, and that person wants it that badly. I'm not saying necessarily go out there. There's another kid who wrote in, he's like, I'm a poor college student, but I see these in Walmart. Should I buy them all and try to flip them? I'm like, it's not like flipping a house. I don't think you're going to walk away and pay for your tuition or something, but maybe you can buy a case of beer with it.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be any surprise that I say this if you know me and my history, but this is life, man. Like, this is the type of shit where it is supply and demand, and if you are a schemer that wants to make money, there's a great way to make money there. Does that make you a good person? Not necessarily, but I
don't think it makes you a bad person. Who is the Switch sitting in Nebraska right now on a Walmart shelf along with 7 other ones benefiting when there are people out there who are like, I really want one but can't get one?
But it's the bringing up the NES Classic. It is the people that just buy them all out immediately as soon as they can.
Sure.
Just with the sole intention of
But I
selling
feel
them
like, and that's the thing is, like, I'm talking about this from a level, and maybe it's a naivete of what I'm suggesting isn't the same as that. This is literally like, there are people who can't get these things, but they're sitting there. No, it's not like people in Nebraska are like, I can't fucking find it. And like, no, there's 17 at the store right now. Like, the people who go, like, it's similar to like when I was, into my toys or whatever, and you'd go there, and the people who waited in line at Toys R Us and ran in and bought all the toys and ran out. Like, that fucking sucks. If you're waiting in line to get all the NESs, that fucking sucks. But you're not waiting in line to get into the Walmart right now to buy it and put it up on eBay. Does this make sense to an extent?
It makes sense. I just feel like that's a weird argument to me, just because I feel like that's imagining that people are good people. like trying to help out people that can't get
there's
them or
definitely
whatever.
personal gain and
but the
benefit to
personal
be
gain.
made.
But even if it's like, again, it all comes down to, is it worth the trouble? Like, I'm out of the flipping game.
Yeah.
Like,
you made your money and got out. You made your millions. On those
Exactly.
Disney figures or whatever the hell it
No,
was.
but really though, like I did that shit all the time, and it's like, but that was great because to me that was more valuable for my time to make money to do the things I wanted to do than doing like working in a fucking coffee shop or
100%.
whatever. But then it reached a point where it's like I now do what I want to do, and I don't need to do that, and that happened a long time ago, right? But it's also, as somebody that is a fan of things and collecting things and buying things, going to concerts, I have to deal with scalpers all the time from a negative way of it affects me in a horrible way. However, I just make sure that I plan accordingly. If pre-orders go up at a certain time, I know when that time is. I'm refreshing. I have multiple computers ready and refreshing. Does that suck that I have to do that? Yeah. Do I not get it sometimes? Is it really upsetting that I waited and was there to get the PlayStation 4 20th anniversary thing and I didn't get one? Yeah, that sucks. But that's also life, and that's how limited quantities of things work. It's supply and demand, and if you really want one, you can go on eBay and spend more money to get it.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm just saying. Like,
Unpopular opinions.
Usually what I would do in this, if I saw tomorrow, if I go to the store today and I see a Switch, I'm going to buy the Switch. eBay would be the last stop. It would literally be like on Twitter, hey friends, I have who needs this? You know what I mean? That's more of where I'd go.
Yeah,
with
but
it.
see, and that's different though. That is just the good person side of it. That's the not scalpy side. That is you're literally buying it for somebody, like, and you're gonna give it to them for retail.
Maybe. Unless
You
it's Nick
would.
Scarpino, I'll fuck him over as hard as I can. You know what I'm saying? Havicios writes in and says, Greg and Tim. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Yesterday, the second expansion for Guild Wars 2 was announced. As an active player, I'm excited, but in the general gaming news, it's not a big deal. Do you think games like this still need attention in the mainstream gaming news, or should they just focus on their current player base? It's complicated. Sad to say is the fact that it's all about how you market it and how you sell it. I'll go back to the example of Marvel Heroes, where when Marvel Heroes came out and it wasn't that great of a game, everybody kind of wrote it off. And then they came back and like, hey, everybody, it's Marvel Heroes 2015. And they got a push and they were on to Up at Noon and they did all these different things. And it was just like, yep, we fucked up our initial thing, but this is a live service and we're changing. And here's everything is different this year. And they did it again for 2016. Now they have Marvel Heroes Omega. They want to do it that way. That gets them press, that gets them news, that gets them clicks, that gets them promotion. If you want to be Guild Wars and hey, we have another expansion, you're just speaking to your player base, which isn't bad, which isn't wrong, but those are definitely different tactics.
It's the same argument we've been making, I feel like countless times on this show, Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
Had they called that DLC something else, it would have been picked up by mainstream. It would have been reviewed by IGN the day the Switch came out, not a month after.
Right. Yeah, and so that's the thing is like, I don't know. It's another thing of what's success to these companies. I'm sure Guild Wars, which was a huge undertaking and has a giant audience, you know, in terms of an MMO. I'm sure it's totally happy with what it has. Obviously, it wants more, but I don't. When expansions are like, we have a new expansion and it's that the Dragon of the North has come back. Like nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. That's not like going to sell new people to get into it necessarily. Yeah, I'm sure a few new people will be like, oh, that sounds cool or whatever. But you got to market a game a very specific way to get people where you want it to go.
I mean, even with games that are more contemporary and more in the moment, like The Division, for example, last year, when they would come out with their DLC packs, and you'd see articles on GameSpot or wherever, Kotaku, like I'd read that, and someone that doesn't play the games, I'm like, okay, so is this a big one?
Yeah.
Or is the next one the big one?
Right.
Is this just some random bullshit?
I mean, look
at
how Destiny did their big one, right? And it's escaping me right now. But you know, the big one where
the Wolf one?
Was it?
I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah, I played it. But anyways, where it was like, hey, you fallen behind, you want to play with your friends. This is a big deal because it gives you this thing that you can trade in to immediately level up to that point and get into the new content where we've made a story and there are interesting quests and da. Like they sold that as like, hey, this is a new game. This is a new way of the game. But if you're just expanding the current game, it might not be as interesting. Tim?
Yes.
It's time to squad up.
Oh, let's squad up. Greg.
This is where Tim goes over to the one that you're wrong and loads up that. But you wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD with your PSN name, Xbox name, Steam name, player name, whatever the hell it needs to be, and told us the game you need friends at. I read it here. Other best friends who play that game friend you, message you. You all play together, and everyone has a hunky-dory time. This is Matthew Anderson. He's on Xbox, where his name is Trademark Man, all one word. Trademark Man says, I have a few achievements I want to unlock that can go fuck themselves because they are very meticulous and require multiple people to be in a party to unlock them. I would love some best friends to help me unlock these achievements and help my gamer score grow to be the highest it can be. Thanks, kind of funny games daily. I never miss a show and it's great. Keep up the great work. Trademark Man. If you're playing on Xbox, hit up Trademark Man and say, hey, brother, what games do you need help with? And then you all party up and you go do it. Squad up, never roll, no. Amigo, forever. Tim is my friend forever. What did we get wrong? This is where you go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong while we record the show. If you're watching live on twitch.tv, this is Kinda Funny Games, and tell us what we fucked up. No editorializing.
Vic Darkbomb says Persona 5 and Yakuza 0 are PlayStation exclusives and won't come to Switch or PC. He cites this from DualShockers.com.
Cool.
Atlas confirms that they're exclusive, won't come. This is a Twitter conversation with John Harden.
Oh, our boy.
Persona 5 platforms, PS3 and PS4. Yakuza 0 platforms, PS4. That's it. No Switch, no PC. I don't know about the box label. That's a Sony thing.
Thank you very
Mark
much.
says, so is Persona 5 coming to Xbox One? It's amazing how dumb some people are about this stuff. And John says, I get it. People want to hold out hope that it comes to their platform of choice, but it's just a box label. So I don't know. That doesn't necessarily tell me anything.
I said I had never seen or heard anything. That he's saying what he's heard. I appreciate that. Looking over the things.
Looking it
seeing
over.
what else we got wrong, because you never
a lot of
know.
E10 talk.
Y'all editorialize too much. You should say, here's what you got wrong. Here it is, the right thing. It's two
According
cents.
to GameStop, 158 results for Xbox One at an E10 plus rating.
Okay.
204 for PlayStation 4 and 38 for Switch. All right. Crash Trilogy has an E10 plus. I guess it's common for games that you'd assume are just E.
Sure. Nobody wants that Bandicoot getting hurt. He gets crates dropped on his head.
A counterpoint to the Yakuza and Persona thing.
Oh, here we go. Great.
Mako Soul is Yakuza and Persona are on the list of games Sega wants to bring to PC.
Okay.
So that list that came out a couple months ago about Sega talking about
I vaguely
its
remember
franchise.
that.
And they brought Vanquish and Bayonetta.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I'm with you. Okay. Editorializing. Just
Yep, a lot of
write the fucking
editorializing.
fact. Just right here's the. I want it to be fact : you got it wrong :
Yep.
Tell us. That's all you got to be. That's all you got to be from here on out. I'm gonna move on. Okay. You interrupt me if you figure something else out that we got wrong. Deep breath. Inhale.
Nope. Yeah,
Nope. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this trophy can go fuck itself. This is from Volfred. Hey, Greg and Tim. I have a submission for this trophy can go fuck itself. The culprit, Patapon Remastered. No. It's not the Craft 9 Divine items. It's Patapata Almost, which is to lose to a boss when they have less than 5% of health remaining. There are a few problems with this. First, I am a Patapon veteran, so losing a boss battle isn't easy when I'm in the zone. I feel like I am on the battlefield alongside my eyeball compatriots, wildly banging on drums, and they're asking me to break the immersion by throwing them my beats. Second, the bosses have no health bar, so how can I know if it's under 5%? That is a small window to hit. I must have tried this trophy 5 times and wasted at least 25 minutes and all right. I can't keep this ruse up any longer. This trophy doesn't need to go fuck itself. It's probably pretty easy to get, and the platinum is pretty easy in general. But there's just no trophy guides up yet, so I've decided why waste another 20 minutes experimenting when I can ask the Patapon god Greg Miller for advice in this trophy. Thanks. Wilfred, I'll tell you what. As I confirmed yesterday, I consulted on the trophies for Patapon. I didn't see them ahead of time. I didn't play the game ahead of time. They just had a phone call with me for like 30 minutes and picked my brain about what I love about trophies, what I love about Patapon. I had said that I like trophies that you get for failing once in a while. There's one for fucking up the beat a bunch. There's one for this.
You did this, Greg.
Kind of. When I was playing through the game on my platinum pace, because I'm the first person in the world to platinum this game, even though it almost broke me. This is one that I was concerned about, Tim. And now you claim to be a Patapon veteran. So, Volfred, on most of the first and even second boss battles, there's just 3 waves. They run away, you follow them, you run away again. And usually, on that third wave, you start to feel it. They're looking weird, their eyes are all crossed, they feel like they're fucked up. Sometimes they drop something right before they're about to die or whatever. I rolled the dice maybe 4 or 5 times on it, where I was like, this guy seems like he's about to die. Let him kill me. Didn't get the trophy. Then I was like, you know what? I'll figure this out later. You can replay all the boss battles. I was also thinking I could always start a new save. And then when I just start the game over, like 3 or 4 fights in or whatever, this first boss battle is easy. Figure it out that way. Instead, I just kept playing, got it naturally. Whereas I got into harder bosses at one point. Yeah, I was fucking, this guy and I were going toe to toe. It was an epic battle and he beat me and then the trophy popped. I was like, that's great. That's fun. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the experience
That's
I want.
what I'm talking about.
Unlike the fucking divine 9 items. God damn it. God damn the blacksmith minigame. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to spoil Tacoma here in a second, so I'll sign off now. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday here on a number of platforms. We dive into the video game news, get nerdy with it, answer your questions, have a good old time. If you like that, please subscribe to youtube.com/kindafunnygames where a new party mode is up, or get us on your podcast services of choice, or watch it live. Twitch.tv/kindafunnygames is recorded each and every weekday. No matter where you watch it, it would mean a lot if you went and subscribed to the other platforms or left a review. Coming up on 1,000 reviews on iTunes, which is a big number for us. We're 900 and something last time I checked. So we're right there. If you could go over to iTunes, pop and give us one, that'd be great. So now, Tim, thank you for being on the show, all that jazz. Now we're going to jump. Greg, don't you touch anything. I'm not really signing off. Now we're going to talk about this. We're going to spoil Tacoma. If you haven't played, and not really spoil it, but kind of spoil it. So go play Tacoma if you haven't already. Because I'll give you the full review. If you haven't signed off yet, the Tacoma thing it's good. I had fun. I enjoyed myself. I don't think it's amazing, but all right, we'll get to it. So let's spoil Tacoma. Pablo L writes in and says, "Good day to you, Greg and Andrea." People they refuse to listen to the entire show to see. No, I didn't say he was going to be on next week. It's Andrea tomorrow. So there you go. Last night I started Tacoma, and I have to say it's incredible. I mean, what a wonderful pool and dart simulator. But let's get down to brass tacks. The story. I say the story, man. When it comes to a good story, you need good writing that I understand, but also it's about execution. With Fulbright being a small team, how is it that they, and also other independent game studios, manage to always get it right, but huge AAA studios seem to get it wrong or come across clumsy in their story, stroking more often than not? When studios like Fulbright, Campo Santo, Supergiant Games, and Giant Sparrow, to name a few, announce a game, I automatically make the assumption that I'm in for a great story. So what is it? Passion, talent, both, witchcraft? How do these smaller studios narratively always get it so right while AAA doesn't deliver? Great job on the show. Keep it up. And I'll keep living as the Kinda Funny crew does. Eating ass.
Good Lord.
Pablo L. We mentioned this yesterday on the show.
Got it.
So a lot of people have now been turned on to the motto, Kinda Funny.
Yeah,
we eat ass.
Yeah.
So why do independent stories seem to be better than AAA studios? They're smaller.
I think it's not even that. I think it's because that's the point. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about Spider-Man. It's just the point of Spider-Man gets diluted by the fact that you want to play as Spider-Man and fight and swing around and do that stuff.
Yeah.
That takes away from the point of it being the story.
Sure.
All of these games you mentioned, the point is the story. The point isn't the gameplay necessarily.
I think you're right. It's that they have a laser focused vision. AAA games. I'm going to throw it. I have no idea if the story will be good or bad, but you can assume it'll be what it is. Assassin's Creed Origins. Assassin's Creed Origins isn't just this guy's story of him in Egypt. It is exploring all of Egypt. It's having cool kills. It's having cool missions. It's having nice things. It's having a good upgrade tree. It's having collectibles. It's having this. Tacoma was, hey, we're going to tell you a story through augmented reality of these people on a ship and then kind of the subversive corporation that's doing some bullshit in the background. My problem with it is that and this is a weird one to say because I haven't fully fleshed out my thoughts on Tacoma, right? But this is the first time I can do it and not worry about spoilers. And you're not going to play it. You just don't care, right? My thing about it is the fact that I enjoyed Tacoma. Today I opened up GameSpot to gather the news, and they'd given it a 7. I saw, and I read some of Kaylee's thing. I pronounced that right? Callie. Why do it's just a weird. It's just I'm gonna call her Kay from now on. KP, my girl KP over there. Had written the review, and I read through it, and I agreed with what she's saying. Got it to 7. I'm like, this is, I think, where I would be around as well for this. I think it's a good game. It's the problem that at no point did I feel like I had skin in the game, that there was a threat, that there was any, like, I was just going through and being told a story, which is fine because it's going through, and like the biggest, comment I think I can give that game is that, halfway through I paused it, and Jen she'd been watching, but then she got caught up in Instagram or whatever, and then she's asked me, and I was able to recap it and tell her, and I had memorized everybody's names. It wasn't just like, oh, this guy's doing that. No, I was like, well, Bert's over here doing this, but Nat's doing that, but we know this about Sarah's saying this about, and it was like, oh fuck, like I know this, and I'm really interested in their threads, but there was no driving force to it because you come on that ship and it's like, all right, cool. You look at your pad, it's like, the crew's been evacuated. And it's like, oh, okay, so now I just got to figure out what's going on here, but I know they're all alive, or I assume they're all alive, and spoilers, when I get to the end, they're all alive. And it was just like, well, what was like, there was no driving force here. There was no fear. And Gone Home, it was, what the fuck's going on? Is this house haunted? Did they kill each other? What's going on in the attic? Why can't I get in the attic? This is creepy, blah, blah, blah. There was none of that here, where this one was like, by the time I got to the end and like you get into the ship and you put Odin back in, and then it's like, the reveal was like, I was, I'd taken this mission acting like I was going to be this corporate lackey and clean up their mess. But I get back in and I'm actually like part of the AI Liberation Front, where I put him in and I'm like, we're going to take you off and I was like, oh, I didn't care, I guess, enough about Odin to really be like, oh, thank God they're saving him. I was like, oh man, how's this going to wrap up? What are they going to do? But I cared way more about the people, but I was never worried about the people because of the way the game was set up. Yeah. So it was this interesting of like, it succeeds on a story front, I think, because I cared about all the characters, but it fails on a story front because I guess I missed that the real point of the game was going to be this corporation trying to fuck you guys and we're trying to save the AI, and I didn't get that away from it. I was more interested in all the people, like when there's this explosion and Nat and Bert get knocked down, and I was like, oh shit, is one of them about to die? No, they're fine. Oh, well, if we put Nat in cryo, she might die. No, we're not gonna do that. She's fine. I'm like, all right, whatever. Whiny ass dude over here with his kid or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care about you. You suck. You didn't want to get into cryo faster. You know what I mean? But again, to the point, I'm way more invested in this story that I have problems with than I am in most AAA stories, with the exception of like the entire Uncharted series or something to that effect, where I find characters and things I love about. But even that, I'm like, well, Lazarevich is a dumb boss. And
that's the thing is, I mean, man, it's so hard to talk about this stuff because plot and story are different things, right? Like when story brings into consideration all like character development and characters and liking the characters. So it's like, it sounds like Tacoma did have a good story, didn't have a good plot. Because at the end of the day, it's like the narrative of what's happening, this, then this, then this, then this, then this, that wasn't satisfying because of the end. Having
the ending spoiled. The game, I feel like, spoils its end because like I'm there to figure out what went wrong on the ship and why it's happening. And you get to the end, you're like, all right, well, that wasn't like the most crazy thing or whatever. Great, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, I think it's you nailed it in a much more concise fashion of just the fact that the point of these games you're talking about from an independent level is the story. The point of Assassin's Creed, Spider-Man, whatever, is a million other things, and mainly that you're having fun playing the game and doing a million different things.
Yeah, the story just helps to push those elements to be even more fun, right?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I've already done the outro. This has been the Kind of Funny Games cast. Thank you for watching. We're going to pop over. If you're watching live right now, I'll pop up. We're going to end it, of course, for the YouTube podcast, folks. Thanks for listening or watching. And then I'll do the subs and tips we missed during it. But until next time, I'm all choked up over Tacoma and Bert. No, that has been our pleasure to serve you.